State of Wisconsin versus Nikita Kasap.
18-year-old Nikita Kasap entered the courtroom a few weeks since he pleaded guilty to an almost unimaginable act, shooting his mother, Tatiana Kasap, and her husband, Donald Meyer, to death last February in the village of Waukesha home they all shared.
This is a sad day.
Kasap was in court Thursday for sentencing in their deaths. He lived in the house with their corpses for nearly 2 weeks before stealing $14,000 in cash, jewelry, a gun, and the family car, driving cross-country before police arrested him in Kansas.
Their lives were intentionally taken in an act of senseless and unforgivable violence.
Kasap later explained the killings were part of a plot he got caught up with online, in which he was duped into believing he also needed to kill President Trump. But at his sentencing, he made no excuses.
This man, what you mean duped? How can you be duped into killing? Well, I mean, I guess there's a lot of crazy people out there, or mentally ill, however you want to put it, duped into killing your parents and staying with the bodies for 2 weeks?
I would much rather be with her and my stepdad now in heaven than being on earth, having done what I did. What I did was vile. What I did was thoughtless. What I did was wrong.
Kasap repeatedly apologized for killing his parents, who he called, quote, kind and loving people. Judge Ralph Ramirez said he couldn't take a chance, sentencing him to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
I don't know, given the nature of these acts, I do not know, given what occurred here, when and if and whether a profound and significant change can occur.
100% correct. He did the right thing. I don't care how sad you are, how sad you look. These could be crocodile tears that I'm gonna fall for. No, you killed your mother and your stepfather in cold blood and lived with their body for 2 weeks, and then you admitted to this whole plot was about killing the president too. You cannot be let out for the rest of your life. I don't care if it was a mistake or you were duped somehow. No, you cannot be let out for the rest of your life.
Nick, FBI agents interviewed Kasap extensively about those online contacts as part of this investigation and the supposed plot to kill the president. But we know prosecutors actually never charged him for those specific crimes.
No, right. In fact, the U.S. Attorney's Office filed a letter for Kasap's sentencing here today, saying he was helpful in their investigation into Kasap's contacts with someone they said was possibly associated with, quote, nihilistic violent extremists. Still, they give no position on Kasap's sentencing here for killing his parents.
Nick Bohr live outside the Waukesha County.
Okay, so it looks like he helped them, and that's the best. That's the way he was able to get out of even the thought or the plotting of killing the president. It's a crazy situation, y'all. Let's go over to one more video and see if they give us any more details.
TMJ4. This is breaking news.
And good afternoon, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us on TMJ4 News at 4. I'm Susan Kim.
And I'm Steve Shamraz. First at 4, breaking news. The Waukesha teen who admitted to killing his mother and stepfather and then lived with their bodies will spend life in prison without parole.
Nikita Kasap has already pleaded guilty to shooting and killing his parents in their Waukesha home.
Waukesha County reporter Rebecca Clough live at the courthouse with more on the sentence the judge just handed down. Rebecca?
Yeah, that's right, Steve and Susan. Now, he had already pleaded guilty, like you and Susan said, but what he did was he pled guilty and then left it up to the judge to decide what his sentence would be and if he would be eligible for parole, which the judge decided just minutes ago that he would not. Nikita Kasap spent that sentencing crying, saying he loved his mom and dad and he did a vile, horrible things, and he asked for some leniency or the possibility to get out at some point. Last month, Kassab agreed to plead guilty for that deal. He admitted that he killed his mom, Tatiana Kassab, and his stepdad, Donald Mayer, last year. The then 17-year-old lived with their body for nearly 2 weeks before stealing their car and $14,000 and going on the run. According
Now, how I'm sure I can't understand. I can't fathom how someone can live with a dead body, especially of someone they truly cared about, for 2 weeks, and not go mentally insane. But let's keep.
to federal court documents, Kassab was motivated to kill his family through a plot to assassinate President Trump and overthrow the government. The high school junior had been communicating with someone from Russia and planned to move to Eastern Europe after the murders. We learned during the sentencing that the plot was likely a scam from somebody trying to get money out of Kassab. The prosecutor says Kassab searched out that person, not the other way around, and that Kassab himself admitted he came from a loving home with family that supported him, and he chose to do this.
How you were, because remember now he said that he was duped into this. How are you duped into this when you searched these people out?
There is no circumstance that I believe that this defendant should be out in our community. I believe the risk is too great. What he did showed a total disregard for human life.
Now, tonight at 5, you can hear from Kassab himself, what he said about the crime and his parents. Reporting live.
Now, this is a crazy situation. The question is life. I mean, that's the maximum you can get, life without parole, without being sentenced to death. I mean, it seems reasonable to me, but is there any reasons that y'all would think that he should be given less a sentence, or should have given at least the possibility of parole? This is a crazy situation. And then the fact that all this was tied into a plot that also could have been shown to kill the president. The world is a crazy place, and we've said that before. That's why we got to review it together. Let's go over into the AI breakdown just to see if we can get a little bit more information about this whole case. It's a crazy world, y'all. So we know on March 5th, 2026, Nikita, an 18-year-old from Waukesha, was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for a February 2025 murder of his mother and his stepfather. He shot his parents in their home around February 11, 2025, according to the Associated Press. He lived with their decomposing bodies for 2 weeks before fleeing in his stepfather's SUV with $14,000 cash, in jewelry, and passports. Prosecutors stated that the killings were carried out to fund a radicalized plot to assassinate Donald Trump. The 18-year-old has allegedly written a manifesto titled "Accelerate the Collapse" and planned to use a drone to drop explosives on Trump before fleeing to Ukraine. He was captured during a traffic stop in Kansas on February 28, 2025, after several days on the run. In January 2026, he pleaded guilty to 2 counts of first-degree international homicide. International homicide. That's got to be a mistake. During sentencing, he handed down 2 life terms without the possibility of parole of extended supervision. He's citing a horrific and the inexplicable nature of the crime. This is a crazy. So during the hearing, he expressed his remorse, claiming that he believed at the time that he was a part of a revolution and part of a war. However, the prosecution argued that he remained too dangerous for release, noting his history of researching school shootings and serial killers. Yeah, you can't let that man out. It's as simple as that. You cannot let him out. I don't care. You can say that people can change or anything like that, but hey, he's going to have to change and stay in jail. And then tell his story about what he did. But okay, question. He said he was part of a revolution. How does killing your parents start, or how is that a part of the revolution to overthrow the government? That just sounds like I don't know, man. he was going through something else besides all that. Because I don't see the connection between killing Donald Trump and then killing your parents. And then staying with them for 2 weeks or something like that. I'm assuming I don't know. This is a crazy situation, y'all. But let me know your thoughts on that situation. Let me know if you disagree with anything I said.